Everybody, today I'm going to talk about maybe the greatest monster movie of them all, and that would have to be Godzilla from 1954, directed by Ishiro Honda, released by Toho Studios. So the movie, it's a great film on several levels. One is that it transcends the genre in many ways. You can watch this film on many levels. It spawned a whole series of monster movies. There would be many Godzilla movies to follow this film, which are still being made today. Now, I'm not a Godzilla expert as far as the entire history of the character and the genre or anything like that, but I do want to talk about the very important first film in this series. So, the movie is set in Japan. We begin the story on a fishing boat with fishermen, and they witness uh, an H-bomb test explosion. And then, sure enough, we quickly get reports of a monster emerging from the sea, who locals call Godzilla. And as the scientists, the scientific community of Japan begins to investigate, they discover indeed that atomic testing has reawakened this monster that lives on the bottom of the sea that is somehow able to survive survive the H bomb. And that also creates one of the conflicts in the film because the lead scientist wants to study Godzilla, what made this creature immune to the effects of radiation and things like that. But of course, once it starts wreaking havoc across Japan, they have really no choice left but to try to stop Godzilla by any means possible. But the idea of atomic testing, bringing creatures out of their natural habitat, is a big theme. And around this time, and there's so many real world connections to this film. Like just around the time Godzilla came out, the United States was testing atomic weapons in the Pacific, and some fishermen actually were irradiated by the United States testing weapons in the Pacific. And there was a lot of concern in Japan about all this testing of nuclear weapons happening between the superpowers, but primarily the United States, which was doing it in close proximity to Japan. And of course, the other big part of this film, it's a movie about trauma. It's about Japan's trauma that no other country has necessarily experienced of the effects of the atomic bomb, not just the immediate destructive effects, but the long-term effects on the psyche of a people, just the PTSD from the use of the bombs, but also the effects on health, on the health of the country, and all those things. So the idea of Godzilla being awakened by nuclear weapons, and Godzilla himself is like a nuclear weapon in some ways, almost or equal to what a nuclear weapon is, which made Godzilla a very sympathetic monster in a lot of ways. And all the best monsters are sympathetic. Eh, Definitely, Frankenstein would be an example there. So the terror of the bomb, the concerns about testing, and the trauma of the bomb just loom over this film, every shot of this film. There's also a theme about the tragedy of modern science, how all the incredible things science can do, and yet it seems to all lead to self destruction and things like that. In fact, the means they have to develop to eventually destroy Godzilla are very destructive in themselves. So there is that great theme in the film, but really it's just the experience of watching this film. Every shot in this movie is fantastic. The actual scenes with Godzilla attacking Tokyo remain unsurpassed in the use of miniatures and just the sense of destruction. There's just a real quiet tragedy to it. The music score is really good as well. Kind of not an overbearing music score, but a very atmospheric score throughout the film as well. But yeah, just and we see a lot of the fire that Godzilla causes. Once again, that's a callback to Japan's experience during the war of having their cities bombed. So there's so much in this film, recent history with World War II, but also with the Cold War, which makes it such a classic film and really a must watch of the genre. The tone is very serious. It's never a silly film in any ways. It's just a very somber film, monster movie, but it's just fantastic. I've never seen this on a big screen. I'm sure it's fantastic seeing on a big screen. And even the way the creature moves, the way Godzilla moves, it's just fascinating to watch the way Godzilla moves and so just a marvel of special effects in this film. So yeah, just a true classic. Now I should mention a few years later, 1956, there was an Americanized version where the basically this film was re-edited and some scenes were added with the actor Raymond Burr, who was this American reporter who witnesses Godzilla. But the American version is called Godzilla King of the Monsters. It's 15 minutes shorter. The editing is really jumbled in that movie, and you just really don't get the full effect of the story. And also, a lot of the scenes with Raymond Burr where he's interacting with characters with scenes from the previous film. So he's really not interacting with people. He's interacting through the use of cutting and things like that. It looks like he's interacting with characters from the original film. So that, and I think that was the version for a long time many Americans knew. But if you're going to go out, seek out Godzilla, definitely watch the original version from 1954. I believe it's streaming on HBO Max. It's on the Criterion channel, and definitely watch that version. It's a really unforgettable film. So, thanks for watching, and I will talk to you later. Bye.